In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, finding true peace and clarity can feel impossible. But what if the key to a peaceful mind lies in something as simple, yet profound, as silence? In this video, we'll dive into the powerful principles of Buddhism that can transform the way you think, feel, and experience life. The teachings of the Buddha offer timeless wisdom, reminding us that our thoughts, when left unchecked, can dominate our lives and lead us into cycles of stress, confusion, and suffering. But there is a way out. Through practices like mindfulness and meditation, we can learn to cultivate a stillness within that allows us to truly listen, both to ourselves and to others. The silence is not just the absence of sound, it is a living, breathing presence that communicates deep truths about our nature, our mind, and our place in the world. From understanding the impermanence of life to embracing the wisdom of non-attachment, these teachings offer us a roadmap to peace. Join us as we explore how embracing silence and inner peace can free us from the tyranny of our thoughts and lead us to a life of greater clarity, love, and wisdom. The power of silence in Buddhism. In Buddhism, silence is not simply the absence of sound but a profound, transformative force. The power of silence is deeply embedded in Buddhist teachings, where it is seen as a pathway to greater self-awareness and inner peace. Silence allows us to step away from the constant noise of daily life and connect with the present moment in a meaningful way. It is in silence that we begin to hear the deeper, quieter parts of ourselves, the wisdom that resides beneath the surface of our thoughts. In a world where we are often bombarded with distractions, the practice of silence becomes an essential tool for spiritual growth. It helps us to quiet the chatter of the mind and make space for reflection, insight, and clarity. Silence is also the medium through which meditation works. By sitting in silence, we detach from external influences and learn to focus inward, allowing our true nature to emerge. In Buddhist philosophy, this silence leads to liberation, as it breaks the cycle of attachment and craving that keeps us tied to suffering. It is through embracing silence that we can confront our innermost thoughts and emotions without judgment, providing an opportunity for transformation. When we allow ourselves to be present in silence, we come to realize that it is not empty or void, but full of potential, offering us the wisdom to navigate life with a calm, open mind. Silence as a powerful and subtle tool. Silence in Buddhism is often described as a subtle yet incredibly powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and wisdom. While it may seem passive, silence is actually an active force that shapes the way we experience life. It has the ability to help us clear the mental clutter and focus our attention on what truly matters. In our busy lives, we tend to be overwhelmed by external stimuli, but silence allows us to turn inward and connect with our authentic selves. It teaches us how to listen, not only to others, but to our own hearts and minds. The practice of silence invites us to let go of unnecessary noise and distractions that keep us from understanding our true nature. It is through silence that we begin to discern the difference between the endless stream of thoughts and the deeper, quieter truths that lie beneath. Buddhist monks and practitioners often spend significant periods in silence to sharpen their ability to observe their own thoughts and emotions without attachment. This practice helps to reduce the noise in the mind, allowing us to see things clearly and respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. Silence is also an integral part of Buddhist meditation, where the mind is trained to settle and become still. In this stillness, profound realizations can arise. Whether through a silent retreat or a few moments of stillness in your day, silence holds the key to unlocking a deeper, more mindful way of living. The mind as a garden, care and cultivation. The Buddhist analogy of the mind as a garden is a powerful metaphor that illustrates the importance of care and cultivation in our mental and emotional lives. Just as a garden requires attention, patience, and effort to flourish, so does the mind. In Buddhism, the mind is viewed as a fertile ground that can either yield beautiful, peaceful thoughts or become overrun with the weeds of negative emotions, attachments, and distractions. If left uncultivated, the mind can become chaotic, clouded with suffering and confusion. However, when tended to with mindfulness, awareness, and compassion, the mind can grow into a place of peace, clarity, and wisdom. Just as a gardener must remove weeds to allow plants to grow, we must remove negative thoughts and unhelpful mental patterns that prevent our true potential from emerging. This process of mental cultivation involves actively choosing what to plant in the mind, thoughts of love, compassion, and wisdom, and removing the destructive thoughts that perpetuate suffering. Meditation and mindfulness practices are tools that help us prune the weeds of our mind. They allow us to observe our thoughts without attachment or judgment, which in turn helps us clear mental space and encourage positive growth. Just as a garden requires ongoing care and nurturing, so too does the mind. This ongoing effort allows us to reap the fruits of a peaceful, balanced life. In this way, the mind, when carefully cultivated, becomes a source of beauty and wisdom, reflecting the qualities of a well-tended garden. Silence as the gardener of our mind. In Buddhism, silence is often regarded as the gardener of the mind, patiently working to remove the weeds of negative thoughts and cultivate the flowers of peace and wisdom. Just as a gardener gently tends to a garden, pulling out weeds and nurturing healthy plants, silence plays a crucial role in maintaining the mental landscape. The mind, like a garden, requires constant attention. Without mindful care, negative thoughts, worries, and distractions can take root, overshadowing the potential for clarity and peace. Silence, in this sense, serves as a tool for introspection and reflection, allowing us to observe the state of our mental garden without judgment. Through silence, we can notice the unhealthy patterns of thinking that may be preventing us from reaching a state of calm or enlightenment. These mental weeds, such as anger, fear, and attachment, can be uprooted by the presence of mindful silence, which helps us detach from reactive thought patterns. When we practice meditation in silence, we begin to create space for the positive qualities of the mind, like compassion, understanding, and equanimity, to flourish. Silence, therefore, acts as a gentle yet effective guide, showing us how to nurture the aspects of our minds that are aligned with wisdom and kindness. By embracing silence, we become the gardeners of our own minds, cultivating a mental environment that is rich with peace, love, and wisdom. The importance of silence in daily life. Silence plays a vital role in our daily lives, especially in a world that is constantly filled with noise, distractions, and information overload. In Buddhism, silence is not just a physical absence of sound, but a mental and emotional state that helps us cultivate inner peace, focus, and clarity. By incorporating silence into our daily routines, we can create moments of stillness that allow us to reconnect with ourselves and the present moment. In a busy world, we often rush through our days without taking the time to pause and reflect. Silence offers us the opportunity to step back, slow down, and listen to the deeper truths within us. This practice of pausing to embrace silence in our lives can be transformative. It enables us to break free from the mental clutter that often leads to stress, anxiety, and confusion. By practicing silence, we can regain control over our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to respond to situations with greater wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. For example, in conversations, silence can be just as powerful as words. It creates space for others to express themselves and gives us the chance to truly listen without immediately reacting. In moments of silence, we are able to hear not only others but also our own hearts and minds. This allows us to respond thoughtfully and without judgment, creating more harmonious interactions. Integrating silence into our daily lives, whether through meditation, mindful pauses, or simply spending time in quiet reflection, can lead to a more balanced, peaceful existence. It helps us navigate life's challenges with greater ease and insight. Silence as a gateway to wisdom. In Buddhism, silence is not simply the absence of sound, but a gateway to wisdom and deeper understanding. Silence provides the space needed for the mind to quiet itself and become receptive to deeper insights that are otherwise drowned out by the constant noise of everyday life. When we practice silence, we stop feeding the constant flow of thoughts and distractions that cloud our judgment. In this stillness, we can access a deeper level of awareness, where true wisdom resides. The silence is a tool for cultivating mindfulness, which allows us to see things as they truly are, free from the filters of judgment, attachment, and ego. Through silence, we begin to perceive the world with greater clarity and understanding. This clarity comes from stepping out of the habitual, reactive patterns of thinking and into a space where we can witness our thoughts without identifying with them. By observing our thoughts in silence, we realize that they are fleeting and impermanent. This realization is a key aspect of Buddhist wisdom, as it helps us to break free from the cycle of attachment and suffering. Silence invites us to see the interconnectedness of all things, recognizing that everything is constantly changing and that nothing exists in isolation. It is in the stillness that we can experience the deep interdependence of life. As we cultivate this silence, we begin to understand our true nature and the impermanence of all things. Through silence, we unlock the wisdom that allows us to navigate life with equanimity, compassion, and awareness. In this way, silence becomes a powerful tool for spiritual growth, leading us toward greater peace, understanding, and enlightenment. Resistance to change, facing endings. The resistance to change is a fundamental aspect of the human experience. In Buddhism, this resistance is closely tied to attachment, the desire to hold on to what is familiar and comfortable, even when it no longer serves our growth. Facing endings, whether it's the end of a relationship, a career, or a phase of life, can be extremely challenging because it forces us to let go of something that has provided us with stability and security. The fear of the unknown, the discomfort of change, and the pain of loss can make it difficult to embrace transitions. Buddhism teaches that resistance to change is a primary cause of suffering. Our attachment to things, people, and even our own identities creates a false sense of permanence, and when those things change or end, we experience pain and confusion. However, the teachings of impermanence, anicca, remind us that change is an inevitable and natural part of life. By understanding that all things, whether good or bad, are temporary, we can learn to let go of our attachment to them. The challenge lies not in the end itself, but in how we perceive it. When we can shift our perspective and see endings as opportunities for growth, transformation, and new beginnings, we begin to move with the flow of life rather than resist it. Meditation and mindfulness practices are key tools in helping us face these transitions with grace and acceptance. When we embrace endings, we allow ourselves to make room for new experiences and possibilities. Rather than fearing the end of something, we learn to appreciate the space it creates for something new to emerge. In this way, we transform our resistance to change into a source of personal growth and liberation. The nature of impermanence in Buddhism. Impermanence, or anicca, is one of the core teachings in Buddhism. It refers to the fundamental truth that everything in life is transient, nothing lasts forever, and all phenomena are in a constant state of change. This includes not only physical objects but also our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. In the Buddhist view, everything is born, exists for a time, and eventually fades away, whether it is a person, a season, or a feeling. Understanding the nature of impermanence is crucial for freeing ourselves from suffering. When we cling to things or experiences, expecting them to remain the same, we set ourselves up for disappointment and pain. This attachment arises because we believe that things should stay the same, but reality shows us that everything is subject to change. By embracing impermanence, we free ourselves from the suffering that comes from attachment. Instead of holding on to the past or worrying about the future, we learn to live fully in the present moment, appreciating each experience as it arises. The awareness of impermanence also fosters a sense of compassion and empathy. When we understand that all beings are subject to the same cycle of change and suffering, we develop a deeper connection to others and a greater desire to ease their pain. Impermanence also reminds us of the preciousness of life. Since nothing lasts forever, we are encouraged to make the most of our time, cultivating positive actions, thoughts, and relationships that will lead to wisdom and peace. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more freely, letting go of our attachments and accepting the natural flow of life. It teaches us that while everything changes, our true nature, the part of us that is connected to all things, remains constant and unchanging. This realization is liberating and empowers us to face life's challenges with acceptance, peace, and understanding. Attachment and resistance to change as a cause of suffering. In Buddhism, attachment and resistance to change are seen as central causes of human suffering. Attachment arises when we cling to people, possessions, outcomes, or even our own identities. We tend to form deep emotional connections to what is familiar and comforting, but this attachment creates a false sense of permanence, which leads to suffering when these things inevitably change or disappear. The root of attachment lies in the belief that these things define our happiness and sense of self. However, the Buddha's teachings on impermanence, anicca, remind us that everything is in a constant state of flux. When we resist this reality, we create unnecessary mental and emotional turmoil. This resistance manifests as fear, anxiety, and stress because we desperately want things to remain as they are. However, this very desire to keep things static prevents us from fully embracing the present moment and all its possibilities. Buddhism teaches that attachment and resistance to change are driven by a desire for security, a longing to hold on to what feels safe. Yet, this clinging only deepens our suffering because nothing is immune to change. The path to liberation is to learn to let go of attachments and accept the impermanent nature of all things. By doing so, we begin to experience a sense of freedom. When we stop fighting against change, we find that change becomes easier to navigate. We begin to see that life is a continuous flow, full of new beginnings and fresh opportunities. This understanding allows us to live with greater peace, acceptance, and equanimity, free from the suffering caused by attachment and resistance to change. The wisdom of non-attachment and new beginnings. Non-attachment, or Viraja, is one of the most important teachings in Buddhism. Unlike detachment, which can sometimes be misconstrued as coldness or indifference, non-attachment is about developing a healthy relationship with the world. It does not mean renouncing everything but rather approaching life without clinging to anything. This practice is a deep recognition of the impermanence of all things. When we are not attached to the outcomes of our actions, we can live more freely and with greater peace of mind. In the context of new beginnings, non-attachment is especially significant. Life is full of transitions, endings of relationships, careers, or phases of life, and these changes often come with uncertainty and fear. However, by practicing non-attachment, we can face these moments of change with courage and open-mindedness. Instead of viewing a new beginning as a threat or a loss, non-attachment allows us to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. When we release our attachment to how things should be, we open ourselves to the potential of what could be. Non-attachment frees us from the mental and emotional constraints that come with rigid expectations. It encourages us to embrace new beginnings with curiosity and flexibility rather than resistance. Buddhism teaches that everything is in a state of constant flux, and by letting go of our need to control, we allow ourselves to experience life as it is, unpredictable and ever-changing. Non-attachment does not mean being indifferent to the world, rather, it means embracing change with a sense of freedom and equanimity, knowing that each new beginning holds the potential for deeper wisdom and growth. Self-confidence as a tool for facing challenges. Self-confidence is an essential quality for navigating the challenges of life. In Buddhism, self-confidence is not based on ego or the external validation of others, but on the deep understanding of our true nature. The Buddha teaches that all beings possess the seed of enlightenment, what is often referred to as the Buddha nature, a fundamental wisdom and potential within us all. When we understand this inner potential, we can cultivate confidence that is grounded in this truth. This kind of self-confidence is not about believing in our own abilities or qualities in a superficial way, but about trusting in our ability to face difficulties with clarity and equanimity. In the face of challenges, whether they are external obstacles or internal struggles, self-confidence rooted in our true nature helps us maintain composure and resilience. When we have confidence in ourselves, we are less likely to be overwhelmed by self-doubt or fear. We trust that no matter what arises, we can meet it with awareness, wisdom, and calm. Buddhism teaches that the mind, when trained and disciplined, becomes an invaluable ally in facing life's difficulties. Meditation, mindfulness, and the study of the Dharma help us cultivate the mental clarity and emotional stability needed to confront challenges head-on. In times of uncertainty or adversity, self-confidence allows us to remain grounded and not be swept away by fear or anxiety. It is through this inner trust that we gain the strength to persevere, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity for growth and transformation. the virtue of professing love and peace towards others. In Buddhism, love and peace are considered essential virtues for both personal transformation and the well-being of others. The practice of metta, loving-kindness, and shanti, peace, is central to Buddhist teachings and provides a powerful antidote to the turbulence of our thoughts and emotions. Professing love and peace towards others is not merely about expressing good intentions through words, but about cultivating these qualities deeply within ourselves and allowing them to guide our actions. Love, in Buddhism, is unconditional and boundless. It is a love that transcends attachment and expectation, a love that is not dependent on the behavior or responses of others. It is rooted in the recognition that all beings are interconnected, and by cultivating love and compassion, we contribute to the well-being of everyone. Similarly, peace is not just an external state, but an inner quality that arises when the mind is free from conflict and disturbance. When we embody love and peace, we create an environment where others can also experience these qualities. This, in turn, helps to reduce conflict, foster understanding, and promote harmony. By professing love and peace, we become instruments of change, offering a space for others to feel safe, valued, and understood. In Buddhist practice, the cultivation of these virtues begins within. As we develop love and peace within ourselves, we naturally extend these qualities to those around us. This creates a ripple effect, transforming our relationships and the world at large. Professing love and peace is not just about improving our own lives, but about actively contributing to the collective well-being of humanity. In this way, love and peace become powerful tools for overcoming the mental and emotional challenges that arise in our lives, allowing us to respond with wisdom, compassion, and grace. As we come to the end of this exploration into the transformative power of Buddhism, remember that the lessons shared here are not just theoretical ideas, they are practical tools that can help us navigate the challenges of everyday life. The teachings of impermanence, non-attachment, and cultivating love and peace aren't just concepts, they are ways to free ourselves from suffering and embrace life more fully. We all experience moments of uncertainty, attachment, and fear of change. But just as we discussed today, the path to wisdom and inner peace lies in letting go and embracing each moment as it comes. It's in our hands to make these teachings a part of our daily lives, whether it's by taking a moment of silence to center ourselves, practicing self-compassion, or extending kindness and understanding to those around us. Now, I invite you to reflect on how you can begin to implement these practices in your own life. What areas are you still holding onto too tightly? Where can you open yourself up to new beginnings and find peace and impermanence? Start small, whether it's by taking a few moments of silence each day, practicing mindfulness, or simply being more compassionate with yourself and others. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe, share with others, and continue on this journey of self-awareness and growth. Your inner peace and wisdom are already within you, let's continue to nurture them together. Thank you for watching, and may you walk the path of peace, love, and freedom.